My name is Cooper. I'm an attorney, and I'm miserable. But I didn't used to be. This is that story. We begin in Cape Town, South Africa. Now at this point, I had applied to 10 different law schools and 8 of them had already turned me down. Guess I wasn't going to be an attorney. But I had a backup plan. Travel the world until I ran out of money. Chris was easy to get on board. He's my brother, and we learned how to travel together. He and I have done everything from leave our British rail passes in France to getting carjacked. You know, usual stuff. He works way too hard and needed a break. Now, I met Ian in college. He had always planned on backpacking Europe after graduation, so he was game to buy one-way tickets with me, just as long as we ended up in Europe at some point. Admittedly, that's not much of a concession on my part. Jet lag hit Carrick the hardest. We climbed Table Mountain on day 1. Now, he and I had actually met in South Africa a couple years before, and we had planned to go back someday, so he signed up too. So if I'm an attorney now, why tell this story? Well, like I said, I'm miserable, and I have to wear a fucking suit every day. But I was happy here. Why? Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I hope that telling this story will give me some kind of an answer. Alright, enough of that. Back to Cape Town. So where do all these 4x3 clips come from? Well, before we left, I'd become obsessed with old Super 8 film cameras. I didn't own one, but I wanted to start shooting as soon as possible. My Aunt Mandy had restored some of my grandfather's footage of my uncles skating dried out pools in the 70s. I was hooked. So I started practicing with an app on my phone. We were going on an adventure. I didn't want to be another tourist with a generic iPhone shot of every famous place we went. No way. So these shots are all I have. Well, and one disposable camera. But we'll get there. I think what makes Super 8 so special to me is that it's so messed up. It's never perfect. There's always something wrong with it. But that's what makes it so irreplaceable. You never know what you're gonna get on that reel of 8mm film until you're already done. No going back. Travel's just like this, come to think of it. We always had some basic idea of where we wanted to go or what we wanted to do. But inevitably, what we loved most was never what we'd planned.
Did you touch him?
No.
Becomes apparent. I keep coughing and.
Oh, I'm just getting a.
Stop it. Was it
Apologize.
Sorry.
This is Simonstown. It's a little seaside place outside the main city. It's one of my favorite places on Earth. Yep, there are penguins here, but that's not why I love it. I think I love it so much just because I was happy when I was here. We were all just here. We knew we'd be going other places later, but that didn't matter. Suddenly, I didn't care that I thought I wasn't going to law school anymore, or where my money would come from in the future. I was on a rocky beach with penguins, and trying to grow a mustache for some reason. Around this time, a few days in, we decided on the next leg of our trip. Athens, Greece. We booked tickets from Joburg. We just had to get there somehow. So we planned to drive up the garden route to Durban, then from Durban to Joburg. Perfect. This is the view from Lion's Head. Well, sort of a view. Ian and Chris had woken up at 4 the day before and climbed it. They spoke of a legendary sunrise. They dragged me and Carrick along this time, but it was foggy. And poor Carrick was still having stomach issues. More on that later. But even though we didn't see spectacular views, I remember this day vividly. We posted up in the fog. Chris built a stack of rocks, and we just soaked it in. Literally. That sea fog was wet. But I like fog. You can't see shit. It hides everything. All you can see is your next step. And maybe that's why I was so happy here in Cape Town. I didn't need to see where I was going. I just went.
How do I know if it's recording or not, Coop?